It's now time for the Weekly with News 6 morning anchor Justin Warmoth.
This is the Weekly on clickorlando.com with Justin Warmoth.
It's been almost 1 month since the deadly school shooting in Parkland.
This is catastrophic.
And since then, the debate over gun control and school safety has been heated.
You have the power to change this. And if you don't, then we will change you.
This morning, 4 mothers with a total of 14 children in Orange County schools lay out their grassroots effort to make schools safer.
It's incredible to think, will I be able to see my child ever again?
But some have different ideas, including Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood.
It's not a matter of if there's going to be another school shooting, it's a matter of when and where.
Good morning and welcome to the Weekly. I'm Justin Warmoth. From the national to the local level, school safety has been a hotly debated topic over the last month. On clickorlando.com, we have covered every development in the wake of the school shooting in Parkland, from lawmakers debating in Tallahassee to local sheriffs laying out their own plans to improve security in schools. This morning, you're going to hear from a group of 4 mothers whose ideas to make Orange County schools safer stop short of arming teachers. But first, I sit down with Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood to hear why he believes arming some teachers is the best way to stop active shooters. And Sheriff Chitwood, thank you so much for being here this morning. So first off, we're not talking about all teachers being armed here, but how would you get a teacher, a coach, an administrator ready to take on an active shooter? Yeah,
we're not looking to arm a 23-year-old math teacher. What we would first look at is, do I have any ex-law enforcement in Volusia County schools, which I do. Right off the top of my head, I have one gentleman who teaches at University High School. He's a reserve deputy. That means he works for me when he's not teaching. He's fully certified, ready to go. So we would look at those folks first. The second group of people that we would look at is current and former military personnel, and then lastly would be the concealed weapons permit holders. Completely voluntary. With the help of the school board, if we ever got this far, we would screen everyone who applied. Then we would put them through training, and that's the most important thing. Is psychologically, can they handle this? And then emotionally, can they do it? And then, this is the last line of defense, and then put them through several hundred hours of training so they understand what the use of force is all about and all they're there for. They're not there to break up fights. They're not there to make arrests. God forbid they're the last line of defense. Should an armed gunman come on campus, they're there to deal with that. When
we're talking about the training, how would this compare to what your deputies go through to get to be deputized? How would this compare to that?
Yeah, it would be just as intense. Obviously, they wouldn't have to do report writing and emergency vehicle operations, but they would train really hard and intelligently to learn how to stop an active threat if it came on campus. And this is not in any way a panacea that arming teachers is going to end this threat. Obviously we need to put money into mental health. Obviously we need to put money into school hardening of the schools, and obviously we need to put more school resource officers out there. But you have to remember that these attacks that come, these folks are motivated. They're going to get their hands on a gun or a knife. They're going to get their hands on it because they want to make history. And where do they go? They go to soft targets. Soft targets are schools and churches because they know they're not going to shoot back.
You have 77 schools in Volusia County. How many resource officers do you have?
15. I would like to see us do a half a cent or a quarter cent sales tax, see what kind of revenue that generates, and have the school take a big portion of that to target harden their schools with cameras and fencing and metal detectors, and in the other part of that, be able to put a school resource officer on every campus. While we're having this big debate about arming teachers or gun control, that's something that can be done now. That's something that could be quick as November of this year. It could be on the ballot, and we can get moving, because it's not a matter of if there's going to be another school shooting, it's a matter of when and where. It's going to happen.
I want to now switch to the size of campuses, specifically high schools. They're not very small. Let's be honest here. So if the school resource officer is on one side of the campus and there's a shooting happening on the other side of the campus, that is a long haul to get there, and those precious seconds could be kids' teachers' lives. Is that one of the reasons why you'd like to have more guns in schools?
Yeah, let's use University High School for an example. University High School has over 4,400 students in it. It's 2 levels high, and the campus is easily a quarter mile in length. So the point that you just made, if the deputy is in outstanding shape and can run an 8-minute mile, and he knows exactly where that person is, it's going to take him at least 2 minutes to get there. And by that time, the things are over in 4 minutes. Anywhere between 2 to 4 to 5 minutes, the shooting's over. So that's the idea behind this. If you have 3 or 4 teachers on campus, and on top of the school resource officer or 2 school resource officers, now I think we're in pretty good shape to put a threat down, because what happens normally is if law enforcement shows up, their fantasy is destroyed. The idea of going out and killing and being the most prolific school shooter, it's out the door now because the cops are there. So normally they kill themselves, is what happens. So that's why it's so important to get uniforms in there and get them in there quickly.
Are there cons to this plan to have more guns in schools? What
there's always a con, and I get it. You know, my daughter is a 3rd grade teacher. She is the last. I wouldn't give her a water pistol, let alone arm her. But I also know that she has co-teachers that she teaches with who are former police officers, who are military folks, and I would be very comfortable knowing that after they went through a series of screenings, that there was a weapon on campus that, God forbid, if an attack came out, that they would be able to put that attack down.
Where would they put that weapon? Where would they keep it?
It doesn't do them any good if it's not on them.
Right.
It doesn't do them any good if it's not on them.
Okay.
I mean, you could talk about locking it up and using a fingerprint to open the safe, but these things are so dynamic and so fast that you have to have it on you. You would have to, and conceal weapon permits holders. All the teachers that I speak to, they're scared to death to step out of the box and say, hey, this is a good idea, because they will get beaten down and they'll be ostracized. But they come to me in private and they'll say, hey, this is a great idea. I'm a concealed weapons permit holder now, and I think it's ridiculous that I can't bring my gun. I can't drive to school with my gun. I have to leave it home. But yet after school, if I want to go food shopping or do whatever, I have to drive home and get my gun.
The pushback has been strong, mostly from the teachers union, the school board. That's expected?
Sure. I mean, it's a new idea, and it may not be a great idea. I mean, I'm open for anything, but I do think the thing that we could all agree on here is we need to put more money in the school system for security, and we need to have school resources in every school. And I think there's the common ground, and then we could argue about everything else later on.
I want to switch now to the increased amount of threats that schools in Volusia County specifically are getting since the Parkland shooting. But you've implemented a new plan to try and curb this. What is that?
Basically, what we're doing, we have zero tolerance. You know, you tell your bus driver, I got a gun in my backpack and I'm going to go put a bullet in the principal's head, you're getting locked up. But what we're doing is we are charging a felony, so the kid's getting hit with a felony in the 2nd degree, and we are charging them for the cost of the investigation. So if I have to roll the bomb squad out because somebody thinks it's a joke to put a backpack with wires and batteries out there and phone in a bomb threat, that may be a $6,000 response. Well, when we take that person to court, we're asking the judge that they pay restitution back. The minimal response of a deputy in Volusia County is $1,082.
Have they admitted to the reasoning behind making threats against their school? Is it trying to be cool?
It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. At first, we were publishing their names in the newspaper. And then it was like, hold on here, I'm making celebrities out of these kids, we need to stop this. And then it was, you know, what we're doing is, when we sit down, after we make the arrest, we sit down with the state attorney's office and my juvenile justice coordinator, and we try to break the kids out. Now, I have a kid in Deltona who is a certified blood member. He has pictured himself on the internet posing with firearms, and he talked about shooting up the school. He's going to be treated a lot different than a kid who stands up and has an emotional outburst, who we're going to try to divert out of the system and get them the help that they need. How
much is social media to blame?
Everything is social media. I mean, and in today's climate, what I keep hammering home to parents is, take 5 minutes, sit your son or daughter down, explain to them what's going on in the world today. And we have to investigate every single threat as if it were real. And unfortunately, if it's a hoax, we're locking you up.
And at last check, Volusia County has arrested 18 students for making threats against schools. Still ahead, 4 mothers who have a total of 14 children in Orange County Public Schools detail their grassroots effort to make schools safer without having more guns in the classroom.
The wife of the Pulse shooter faces federal charges, and News 6 brings you all the action. A team of reporters inside the courtroom.
They need to have this guy testify.
Plus federal court experts you've seen on CNN and Fox News.
So that's the defense take on this.
Including lawyer Mark O'Mara and attorney Whitney Bone join News 6 to break down the trial. Catch up during your lunch break with live updates throughout the day. Make sure you follow on air, online, and on your mobile device. The Noor Salman trial on News 6 and clickorlando.com.
There's always something new at Crayola Experience at the Florida Mall. Brand new. Use your imagination to solve colorful challenges. Plus, a full day of hands-on family fun. Watch your paper creation dance. Create melted wax spin art. Turn your coloring page into a 4D adventure. Name your own crayon. And watch how crayons are made. Make colorful memories that last a lifetime at Crayola Experience.
Get your discount tickets today at CrayolaExperience.com.
Life's bleachable moments need Clorox bleach.
Are you experiencing a fever and aches? Don't wait. It may be the flu. Flu symptoms can be severe and can typically last 10 or more days, so early treatment is your best bet. Centricare has a rapid flu test and flu shots still available. Don't take a chance with your health. The flu is dangerous. Stop into one of our over 30 convenient locations any day or night. No appointment needed.
Centricare is the proud sponsor of Getting Results for Your Health on WKMG News 6.
This week at Cane's, all outdoor furniture is on sale. Deep seating, dining sets, lounge chairs, all at prices that can't be beat. Get to Cane's this week. With our reputation for quality, you know Cane's does outdoor right.
Most of us play by the rules, but as taxpayers, we all pay the price for those who cheat the government. Only when someone comes forward to report these cheaters do we, the people, get justice. Last year, people with information about government fraud helped recover almost $5 billion. These whistleblowers were rewarded by receiving a percentage of the monies recovered. For more information about fraud against the government, call us or visit forthepeople.com. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
This is The Weekly on clickorlando.com with Justin Warmoth.
This morning on The Weekly, since the deadly school shooting in Parkland, how to make schools safer has been a top priority to many, including 4 Orange County mothers. Their ideas, though, do not require arming teachers. And those moms are joining us on The Weekly this morning. Ladies, thank you so much for being here this morning to talk about this very important initiative and what you guys are all about. First, I'd like to introduce each of you, starting from left to right. We have Rhonda Pillack, Tiffany Womack, Katie Lassess, and Stacy Archer. Again, thank you so much for being here to talk about the SAFE initiative. And Katie, explain what this is.
So this is a group of moms and friends who, after the recent tragedy, had decided that it was time to get together and form some kind of initiative in our schools to protect our kids. Currently, a lot of the districts are focusing on making significant changes to mental health. And though we believe that's important and part of the picture, we are more focused on hardening the schools with measures that can be put in place now.
When you think of hardening, you think of what are you doing immediately on campus to protect those classrooms for those kids. You know, they're saying that the average response time for a police officer to arrive to campus is somewhere between 5 and 7 minutes. We're focused on that 5 to 7 minutes. We want to make sure that classroom is protected as long as it takes for the police to get there and handle the situation.
So you guys are talking about bullet-resistant glass and doors as well.
Right. We're looking right now, bullet-resistant doors can be very expensive. Right. And so when you're dealing with an allocation among 200 schools, because that's what we have in Orange County, that's a lot of schools to cover. We have 250,000 students here. We're the 9th largest district in all the country. And so we have to say, what can we do that's affordable, effective, and can be done immediately? So we're now looking specifically at the window inserts of every classroom door, saying that's $150, $200 fix to just replace that with bullet-resistant glass.
And what's the response been like from some of the school districts and your local leaders in Orange County. What's that been like? Have they been responsive?
I think our concern is the bulk of the response right now really seems to be focused around mental health and gun control, and that's a polarizing subject, which is why we really are concentrating on hardening our schools. You do speak to the legislatures and the school boards, and they are open to those measures. But to Stacy's point, in talking even about finances and the concern and the time it may take to develop our budgets and get our grants and whatever necessary, there are some immediate things we can do now that actually don't cost anything. For example, modeling ourselves after the safest school in America, they do something as simple as having a red line in their classrooms. So they've determined the safest spot for children to be in the case of an active shooter on site. So the goal is to have the children go to the safe tape area. In addition to that, ensuring that the doors are locked, that if there is a file cabinet or something that they can push in front of the door. In addition to some of our other measures, we're trying to also encourage to have within our schools. You know, we're knowing that there's things we can do immediately and not wait for some legislation to go through on funding.
Obviously, you get law enforcement involved and they will come, but slowing that shooter down is something that is essential, correct?
And that's what we're doing. That's what we're trying to do. We want that 5 to 7 minutes, just like Stacy said. That is so important. We want to put steps in, to put measures in that we can protect our kids for that 5 to 7 minutes where we can get that law enforcement there.
Between the four of you, 14 children who are in Orange County District schools.
That's right.
When you guys put them on their buses and ship them off to school as they go to learn and develop, is there a sense deep down that you're worried for them each time they get on the bus?
Absolutely. I still have not recovered from Sandy Hook. You know, it doesn't escape you. As a mom, it's kind of embedded in the fabric of who you are, and you just every day you pray for protection. But it has made our Mom's Day challenging. It's incredible to think, will I be able to see my child ever again? And it's real. That's a reality that we all think about every morning.
My mom told me every day growing up, don't forget to be smart. Don't make that good choice, you know, because you have consequences. There are consequences to your actions. And that's another part of what we're looking for. You know, you need to be held accountable. You know, threats are not funny. You know, we need prosecution. We need kids to know that if you make a threat, it's not okay. If you make a threat, you know, you need to be prosecuted.
You know, when I was going to school, it was often you would worry about your son or daughter getting into a fight at school. Why has it come to this point where every school, doesn't matter if it's elementary, middle, or high school, you're worried about a gun on campus? Why is it at this point in your eyes?
Social media.
You know, social media and parenting.
I mean, I ask that question every night. I hate when my kids come home from school and I say, how was your day at school? And they say, oh, we had a lockdown again. And I want to get beyond that, where we're really focusing back on the education. We're focusing back on the school experiences. Our teachers are not afraid to go to work. They're there to teach. The more we can get back to that, and really what we're saying is give them safety. Give them safety, at least something in the classroom that they know they can close that door and a bullet's not going to get through it very easily, if at all. We want to get bars across these doors so they can't be kicked in. You know, right now we're watching videos of schools, other places that are actually trying to put like big desks in front of the door, hoping that's going to be enough protection. That's not enough protection. Another thing we've looked at that we haven't talked about is we were talking about communication. Right now, if a teacher is in a situation where they're panicked, and they need to alert someone that there's an active shooter or an emergency of some sort in the classroom, they have to walk across the classroom to a wall to press a panic button. And then we discovered that that panic button goes to the front desk of the school. So we said, wait a minute, why can't we have direct communication with our police department in the case of an emergency? So much like a fire alarm system, is set in a school. The minute you press a fire alarm, it goes directly to the fire. Right. Why can't we, in a code red situation, have direct contact? Our parents, our teachers, our administration have direct contact with our police to lessen the amount of time it takes for them to get there.
Because every second, every minute matters.
It does.
It does. Every second matters.
Every second matters. Every second it is a possible life, another life being taken.
That's right.
And also, too, having your secretary or your front desk crew responsible for the overall safety of those students, when that person may be in an emergency situation themselves, then what? It's lost time.
We did some research. We have really been diving into this ever since our neighbors to the south suffered the loss that they did. And we've uncovered companies that actually have an alert button that the teachers can wear, and it's GPS located, which is another point. Not only do we want to lessen the response time and again get direct communication to the police department, but for the police department to know where specifically on campus this emergency is coming from, because it's all GPS located, and every other teacher that gets the alarm can immediately go to their phone and see where on campus it's coming from. It's just information that helps us be more prepared.
You know, this alert system we're looking at, it speaks, it says, this is a lockdown, lights off, you know, locked doors.
And I think I was, in high school once. I get that when you hear fire alarm, you don't necessarily take it as you're kind of just walking out there. You're like, oh, okay, little break from class, And so to have a system in place that alerts you and alerts everyone on campus that this is actually a real threat and to take cover is certainly imperative.
Absolutely.
I want to know what's next for this initiative for SAFE. What is next for you guys as you continue to get the word out?
Well, currently we're working on our website. We want other parents who feel the same to reach out to us, because obviously the more of us there are, the more influence we'll have.
The time is ticking. Every day that goes by is another day we're sending our kids to school and saying, I wish if we had these affordable, effective ways to secure our classrooms, why can't we get that tomorrow?
And if you'd like to get in touch with those moms, their website is parents4saferschools.com. That'll do it for us this morning on The Weekly. Remember, for the latest news, weather, and traffic updates anytime, just head to clickorlando.com. I'm Justin Mormith. Have a great Sunday.